Maya Johnson sat in the front row of the Detroit Grand Hall, her hands shaking slightly in her lap. She wore her best dress, the navy blue one her mother had bought for her last year. It still fit perfectly. Around her, 49 other students sat in similar chairs, all dressed in their finest clothes. They were all here for the same reason. The Whitmore National Merit Scholarship ceremony was about to begin. Maya was 17 years old and a senior at Lincoln High School. She lived in a small apartment on the east side of Detroit with her mother, Patricia, and her younger brother, Marcus. Their neighborhood was not fancy. The buildings were old. Some stores had bars on the windows. But it was home and Maya loved it. She had worked so hard to get here. Every night for the past 4 years, Maya studied at the small kitchen table in their apartment. She did her homework while her mother worked the night shift at St. Mary's Hospital. Patricia was a nurse. She worked double shifts most weeks to pay the bills and keep food on the table. Maya remembered all those late nights. She would help Marcus with his homework first. He was 12 and in 7th grade. Then she would make dinner for both of them. Usually something simple like pasta or rice with vegetables. After Marcus went to bed, Maya would study until midnight or later. Her grades were perfect. She had a 4.0 grade point average. She was the valedictorian of her class. That meant she had the highest grades of all the seniors at Lincoln High. But Maya did more than just schoolwork. She volunteered at the community center every Saturday. She taught science to younger kids. She loved watching their faces light up when they understood something new. Maya also worked on special science projects. Last year, she won first place at the state science fair. Her project was about clean water. She designed a filter that could remove harmful chemicals from water using materials that cost very little money. When the scholarship letter arrived 3 months ago, Maya thought it was a mistake. She read it 3 times. Then she ran to show her mother. The Whitmore National Merit Scholarship was one of the biggest scholarships in the country. Only 50 students were chosen each year from thousands who applied. The scholarship paid for everything: tuition, books, housing, food. Everything a student needed for 4 years of college. The total amount was $250,000. Maya could not believe it. She had applied because her guidance counselor, Mrs. Robinson, insisted. Mrs. Robinson believed in Maya. She said Maya was the smartest student she had ever taught, but Maya never really thought she would win. Patricia cried when she saw the letter. Happy tears rolled down her face. She hugged Maya so tight that Maya could barely breathe. For years, Patricia worried about how Maya would pay for college. She saved money when she could, but it was never enough. Now Maya could go to any school she wanted. Maya chose Stanford University in California. It was far from home, but it had one of the best biomedical engineering programs in the country. That was Maya's dream. She wanted to become a biomedical engineer. She wanted to design medical equipment that helped people, equipment that was affordable, equipment that could be used in poor communities like hers. She thought about her neighbor, Mrs. Chen, who could not afford her diabetes medicine. She thought about Marcus's friend Jamal, who needed an inhaler for his asthma, but his family struggled to pay for it. Maya wanted to help people like them. The ceremony began. A woman in a gray suit walked onto the stage. She was from the Whitmore Foundation. She spoke into the microphone about excellence and hard work. She talked about the future and opportunities. Maya tried to listen, but her heart was beating so fast. One by one, the woman called names. Each student walked onto the stage. They shook hands with the foundation directors. They received a framed certificate and a large check. The checks were made out for the full scholarship amount. The students needed to deposit the checks at their banks to activate the scholarship funds. Finally, Maya heard her name. Maya Johnson from Lincoln High School in Detroit, Michigan. Maya stood up. Her legs felt weak. She walked to the stage. The lights were bright. She could see her mother in the audience. Patricia was standing and clapping. Tears ran down her face again. Next to Patricia, Marcus was clapping too. He was grinning so wide. Maya shook hands with 5 different people on the stage. They all smiled at her. One man said, "You should be very proud." Maya smiled back. She could not find words. Someone handed her the framed certificate. It had her name written in fancy letters. Then someone else handed her the check. Maya looked down at it. It was the biggest check she had ever seen. Not just because of the amount, but the actual size. It was one of those large ceremonial checks about 2 feet wide. The number was printed clearly. $250,000. Maya walked off the stage carefully. She did not want to trip or drop anything. When she got back to her seat, she looked at the check again. This piece of paper represented her entire future. With this, she could go to Stanford. She could become an engineer. She could help people. After the ceremony, there was a reception. People ate small sandwiches and cookies. They drank juice and coffee. Many students took photos with their families. Maya, Patricia, and Marcus took several pictures together. Marcus kept making funny faces. It made everyone laugh. A reporter from the local newspaper wanted to interview Maya. She asked about Maya's plans and dreams. Maya told her about Stanford and biomedical engineering. The reporter seemed impressed. She took more photos. As they left the hall, Patricia put her arm around Maya's shoulders. "I am so proud of you, baby," she said. Her voice was soft and full of emotion. "We did it together, Mom," Maya replied. "You work so hard for us," Patricia shook her head. "No, honey. This is all you. Your hard work, your intelligence, your dedication." They walked to their old car in the parking lot. It was a 2008 Toyota with a dent in the back door, but it ran well and got them where they needed to go. Marcus climbed into the back seat. Maya sat in front, still holding the check carefully. "So what do we do now?" Marcus asked. "We need to go to the bank," Patricia said. "We need to deposit this check so Maya can register for classes at Stanford." "The deadline is next week," Maya nodded. She felt a small flutter of nervousness in her stomach. She had never handled this much money before. She had a small savings account at Riverside Community Bank. Her mother had opened it for her when she turned 16. Maya put birthday money in it, and money from her part-time job at the library. But this was different. "This was $250,000. Can we go tomorrow?" Maya asked. "I want to make sure everything is perfect." Patricia smiled. "Of course. We will go first thing in the morning." That night, Maya could not sleep. She lay in her small bed staring at the ceiling. The check was on her desk, still in its presentation folder. Every few minutes, Maya turned on her phone light to look at it again. She wanted to make sure it was real. This was her chance, her opportunity to change everything. Not just for herself, but for her whole family. Once she graduated from Stanford, she could get a good job. She could help her mother. Patricia would not have to work double shifts anymore. Maya could help pay for Marcus's college too. Everything was about to change. Everything was about to get better. Maya finally fell asleep around 2 in the morning, dreaming of laboratories and medical equipment and a future full of possibilities. Friday morning arrived with bright sunshine. Maya woke up early, even though she barely slept. Today was the day they would go to the bank. She took a long shower and picked out nice clothes. She wanted to look responsible and professional. She chose a clean white blouse and black pants. Maya brushed her hair until it was smooth and pulled it back into a neat ponytail. She looked at herself in the small bathroom mirror. She looked older than 17. She looked ready. Patricia made breakfast. Eggs and toast. Simple but filling. Marcus was still asleep. He did not have school today because it was a teacher planning day. "You look very nice," Patricia said as Maya sat down at the kitchen table. "Thanks, Mom. I am nervous." "Do not be nervous. You earned this scholarship. The bank is just going to put the money in your account. It is simple." Maya nodded, but the nervous feeling did not go away. She ate her breakfast slowly. The eggs tasted like nothing. Her stomach was too tight. They left the apartment at 9:30. Patricia had taken the morning off from work. She told her supervisor it was important. The bank opened at 10, and they wanted to be there early. Riverside Community Bank was a 20-minute drive from their apartment. It was in a nicer part of the city. The building was made of red brick with large glass windows. Inside, everything looked clean and professional. Maya and Patricia arrived at 5 minutes before 10. There were already several people waiting outside the doors. An older man in a suit, a young woman with a baby in a stroller, a couple who looked like they were in their 30s. At exactly 10 o'clock, a bank employee unlocked the doors. Everyone walked inside. The bank was cool from air conditioning. The floor was shiny tile. There were 6 teller windows along one wall. In the middle of the room, there were desks where bank employees helped people with accounts and loans. Soft music played from speakers in the ceiling. It was the kind of music with no words, just instruments. Maya thought it was supposed to make people feel calm, but it did not help her nervousness. Patricia walked to the waiting area. There was a machine that gave out numbers. She pressed a button and a ticket came out. Number 23. A screen above the teller windows showed that they were currently serving number 18. It should not be too long, Patricia said. They sat down in the plastic chairs. Maya held the check in a folder on her lap. She kept checking to make sure it was still there. Her hands felt sweaty. More people came into the bank. A man in work clothes with paint stains. 2 women who looked like sisters. A teenager who looked about Maya's age. Everyone took numbers and sat down to wait. The bank got busier. All 6 teller windows were open now. Bank employees called out numbers. Number 19. Window 3. Number 20. Window 5. Maya watched everything carefully. She saw people depositing checks and withdrawing cash. Everything looked normal and routine. She told herself this would be routine too. Just a simple deposit. But then she looked down at the check again. $250,000. Nothing about this amount felt routine. Number 23. Window 2. Maya jumped a little. That was their number. She stood up quickly. Patricia put a hand on her shoulder. It is okay, baby. Just breathe. They walked to window 2 together. The teller was a man who looked like he was in his 40s. He had short brown hair that was starting to turn gray. He wore a white shirt and a blue tie. His name tag said Derek Hutchins, Senior Teller. Derek did not smile when they approached. He looked at them with an expression that Maya could not quite read. Not friendly, but not exactly mean either. Just blank. How can I help you? Derek asked. His voice was flat. Patricia spoke first. Good morning. My daughter needs to deposit a scholarship check into her savings account. Derek looked at Maya. His eyes went from her face down to her clothes and back up again. Maya felt uncomfortable. It felt like he was judging her. A scholarship check? Derek said. Yes, sir, Maya said quietly. She opened the folder and took out the check. She held it carefully as she passed it through the opening in the glass partition. Derek took the check. He looked at it. Then his eyebrows went up. He looked at the check again, closer this time. He held it up to the light like he was examining it. This is for $250,000, Derek said. Yes, sir. It is the Whitmore National Merit Scholarship, Maya explained. I received it yesterday at the ceremony. Derek set the check down on his counter. He looked at Maya again. This time his expression was different. It was suspicious. How old are you? Derek asked. I am 17, Maya answered. And you are telling me you won a scholarship for $250,000? The way he said it made it sound like he did not believe her. Maya felt her stomach drop. She looked at her mother. Patricia's face had changed too. She looked calm, but Maya could see something in her mother's eyes. A warning sign. A look that said trouble was coming. Yes, Patricia said, her voice steady. That is exactly what happened. My daughter is an exceptional student. She was chosen as one of 50 students nationwide. Derek picked up the check again. He turned it over. He looked at the back. Then he looked at the front again. This seems irregular, Derek said. I have been working here for 15 years. I have never seen a check like this for someone so young. It is a legitimate scholarship, Patricia said. She reached into her purse and pulled out more papers. I have the award letter here, and the certificate from the ceremony. She passed the documents through the window. Derek took them, but he barely looked at them. He set them aside and focused on the check again. Where exactly did you get this? Derek asked Maya directly. Maya felt her face get hot. I told you. From the Whitmore Foundation. At the scholarship ceremony yesterday at the Detroit Grand Hall. Other people in the bank were starting to notice. The teller at window 3 kept glancing over. Some of the customers in the waiting area were looking their way. Derek's voice got a little louder. I am going to need to verify this. This is a very large amount for a check. We have to be careful about fraud. Fraud? Patricia repeated. Her voice was still calm, but it had an edge now. My daughter earned this scholarship through years of hard work. We have all the documentation. Anyone can print documents, Derek said. He was not quite looking at them anymore. He was looking at the check like it was evidence in a crime. Maya felt tears starting to form in her eyes. She blinked quickly, trying to push them back. This was not how it was supposed to go. This was supposed to be simple. Just a deposit, just putting money in an account. Derek stood up from his chair. Wait here, he said. I need to get my supervisor. He walked away from the window, taking the check with him. Maya and Patricia stood there waiting. Maya could feel people staring at them. She heard whispers. Someone behind them said something she could not quite make out. A minute passed, then 2 minutes. Derek was talking to a woman near the back of the bank. The woman was wearing a dark suit. She looked at the check. Then she looked toward Maya and Patricia. She frowned. Derek and the woman walked back to window 2 together. The woman's name tag said Jennifer Walsh, supervisor. "Good morning," Jennifer said. "I understand there is a question about this check?" "There is no question," Patricia said firmly. "This is a legitimate scholarship check. We have all the proper documentation." Jennifer looked at the papers Patricia had provided. She looked at them longer than Derek had. But then she looked at Derek and something passed between them. Some kind of understanding. "I see," Jennifer said. "Mr. Hutchins has significant experience with large deposits. If he thinks we need to verify this, then we should probably be cautious." Maya's heart sank. Even the supervisor was not going to help them. Derek leaned forward, speaking loud enough that people nearby could definitely hear. "Where did you really get this check? Did someone give it to you?" Patricia's jaw tightened. "I am not going to answer that question again. We have told you multiple times. This is a scholarship check. My daughter won it through academic achievement. These documents could be forged," Derek said. "People forge checks and documents all the time." Maya felt the tears start to fall. She could not hold them back anymore. This man was treating her like a criminal, like she had done something wrong. All she did was work hard and win a scholarship. Some customers were definitely watching now. Maya saw a few people holding up their phones. Were they recording this? Were they taking pictures? Jennifer looked uncomfortable, but she did not stop Derek. She just stood there next to him. "I think you should leave and come back with legitimate funds," Derek said. His voice was cold. "If this check is real, then you can take it to the bank that issued it and have them verify it. But I'm not comfortable processing this deposit." "You are not comfortable?" Patricia repeated. Her voice rose slightly. "My daughter has done everything right. She has the check. She has the paperwork. What more do you want?" "I want proof that this is legitimate," Derek said. "You have proof," Patricia said. Derek shook his head. He pushed the check and the documents back through the window. "I am going to have to ask you to leave. If you refuse, I will call security." Patricia looked at her daughter. She saw the tears on Maya's face. She saw the humiliation in her eyes. Patricia's own eyes filled with tears too, but she blinked them back. "Fine," Patricia said. She took the check and the documents. "We will leave." They turned to walk away. Excuse me. Wait just a moment, please." Maya and Patricia stopped near the door. They turned around slowly. A man was walking toward them. He looked like he was in his 60s. He wore a simple cardigan sweater over a button-up shirt and khaki pants. He had a backpack slung over one shoulder. He looked like someone's grandfather. The man had kind eyes. His face showed concern. He walked carefully like he was trying not to startle them. "I am very sorry to bother you," the man said quietly, "but I was standing in line behind you. I saw and heard everything that just happened." Patricia's body was tense. She was still angry and hurt. "Yes, what about it?" "I think a terrible mistake has been made," the man said. "My name is Robert Chen. I could not help but overhear that this young lady has a scholarship check." Maya wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. She did not want to cry in front of more people. But this man seemed different from Derek. He seemed genuine. "That is right," Patricia said, her voice still cautious. "My daughter earned a national scholarship. But apparently that does not matter to the people who work here." Robert nodded slowly. He looked sad. "I am truly sorry for what you just experienced. No one should be treated that way, especially a young person who has achieved something so remarkable." "Thank you," Maya said softly. It was the first kind words anyone in this bank had said to them. Robert glanced back toward the teller windows. Derek and Jennifer were both watching. Derek had his arms crossed. He looked annoyed. "Would you be willing to wait just a few more minutes?" Robert asked. "I would like to help if I can." Patricia looked uncertain. "I do not know. We were just told to leave. They threatened to call security." "I understand, but I promise you I think I can make this right. Please, just give me 5 minutes." Something in his voice made Patricia pause. There was authority there, but also kindness. She looked at Maya. "What do you think, baby?" Maya was tired. She was humiliated. She wanted to go home and hide in her room. But something about this man made her feel like maybe, just maybe, things could still be okay. Okay, Maya said. 5 minutes, Robert smiled. It was a warm smile. Thank you. Please sit down over there. This will not take long. He pointed to some chairs near the window. Maya and Patricia sat down. They watched as Robert walked back toward the teller windows. He got in line behind the other customers. Who do you think he is? Maya whispered. I do not know, Patricia said, but he seems like he wants to help. Let us see what happens. At the teller window, Derek had gone back to helping other customers. He called the next number. An elderly white man approached. He was probably in his 70s. He wore an expensive-looking suit. He had a check he wanted to deposit. Derek smiled at the elderly man. His whole attitude was different. Good morning, sir. How can I help you today? I need to deposit this check, the elderly man said. He slid a check through the window. Derek looked at it. His eyes widened slightly. Oh, this is quite a large amount. $75,000. Yes, the elderly man said. It is from the sale of some stocks. Derek smiled again. No problem at all, sir. Let me just process this for you. This will only take a moment. Maya watched from her seat. Her mouth fell open slightly. That check was for $75,000. Derek did not question it. He did not ask for extra documents. He did not accuse the man of fraud. He just processed it with a smile. Patricia saw it too. Her hands formed into fists on her lap. Did you see that? She whispered. I saw, Maya said. Her voice was hollow. The elderly man's transaction took less than 3 minutes. Derek handed him a receipt and wished him a nice day. The man walked away smiling. It was so clear now. So obvious. The difference in how Derek treated that man compared to how he treated Maya. The only real difference was the color of their skin and their ages. Maya felt a new emotion rising up inside her. It was not just sadness anymore. It was anger. She had done nothing wrong. She had earned her scholarship through years of hard work. But Derek had looked at her and decided she must be lying. He looked at her and saw a problem instead of an achievement. The line moved forward. More customers were helped. Derek remained at window 2. He was polite to everyone, professional, normal, like nothing had happened. Like he had not just humiliated a teenage girl in front of dozens of people. Finally, it was Robert's turn. He had been waiting patiently. When Derek called the next number, Robert walked up to window 2. Good morning, Robert said. His voice was polite but not warm. Morning, Derek replied. He did not smile at Robert the way he smiled at some of the other customers. How can I help you? I actually wanted to ask you about the young lady and her mother you just turned away, Robert said. Derek's expression changed. He looked annoyed. That is not really your concern, sir. Do you have banking business to conduct? I do. But first, I want to understand why you refused to help that girl with her scholarship check. Derek sighed. Look, we have policies. Large checks require verification. It is standard procedure. Is it? Robert asked. Because I just watched you process a $75,000 check for that gentleman without any verification at all. Derek's face got a little red. That was different. How was it different? That customer is a longtime client. I know him. And the young lady? She is a teenager with a check for a ridiculous amount. It looked suspicious. Robert leaned forward slightly. What exactly looked suspicious? The check itself? Or the person holding it? Derek crossed his arms. I do not like what you are implying. I treat all customers equally. Do you? Robert asked. His voice was calm but firm. Because from where I was standing, it looked very much like you made assumptions about that young woman based on her age and her appearance. I think you need to mind your own business, Derek said. His voice was getting louder. If you have a transaction to complete, then let us do it. Otherwise, please step aside. Jennifer Walsh appeared next to Derek again. She had been watching the conversation. Is there a problem here? No problem, Robert said. I am just asking questions about the treatment of the previous customers. Mr. Hutchins acted appropriately, Jennifer said. We have to be careful with large deposits. I am sure you understand. I understand perfectly, Robert said. He reached into his back pocket and pulled out his wallet. Let me ask you both something. Do you know who I am? Derek rolled his eyes. No, sir. Should I? Perhaps, Robert said. He pulled a business card from his wallet. He slid it through the window. Jennifer picked it up. She looked at it. Her face went completely white. The card almost fell from her hand. Derek noticed her reaction. What is it? Jennifer showed him the card with a shaking hand. Derek read it. All the color drained from his face, too. His eyes went wide. The card was simple, white with black text. It said, Robert Chen, chairman of the board, Riverside Financial Group. Riverside Financial Group was the corporation that owned Riverside Community Bank. It owned 20 other banks across 3 states. Robert Chen was not just any customer. He was the chairman of the board. He was essentially the boss of everyone in this building. Derek's mouth opened and closed. No words came out. I did not, Jennifer stammered. Mr. Chen, we had no idea you were... Robert held up his hand. Clearly. Now I want to speak with the branch manager immediately. Of course, Jennifer said quickly. Right away, Thomas. Thomas Peterson. A man emerged from an office near the back of the bank. He was in his 40s, wearing a gray suit. He walked over quickly. Yes, Jennifer, what? He stopped when he saw Robert. His face went white too. Mr. Chen, This is unexpected. We did not know you were coming today. It was not a planned visit, Robert said. I came in as a regular customer, but I have witnessed something very disturbing. I need to speak with you privately, in your office. Right now, Thomas nodded rapidly. Of course. Please, this way. Robert turned and looked toward Maya and Patricia. He gestured for them to come over. These ladies will join us as well. Maya and Patricia stood up slowly. They were confused. They did not understand exactly what was happening, but they could see the fear on the faces of Derek and Jennifer. They could see the respect and panic on the branch manager's face. As they walked toward the manager's office, other bank employees were watching. The customers were watching too. Everyone could sense that something important was happening. Thomas held open the door to his office. Please come in. Maya and Patricia entered first. Robert followed. Thomas came in last and closed the door. The office was small but nice. There was a desk with a computer, shelves with books and binders, photographs on the wall. Thomas gestured to chairs. Robert remained standing. Thomas, I want you to understand something very clearly. I came into this bank as a regular customer this morning. I was waiting in line. I witnessed one of your tellers, Derek Hutchins, treat this young woman and her mother with disrespect and suspicion. Patricia spoke, her voice steady now. My daughter has a scholarship check for $250,000. It is a legitimate scholarship from the Whitmore Foundation. We provided the check and all supporting documentation. But Mr. Hutchins accused us of fraud. He said the documents could be forged. He refused to process the deposit and told us to leave. Thomas's face showed shock. He said, what? He treated my daughter like a criminal, Patricia continued. Robert Chen sat down in one of the chairs across from Thomas Peterson's desk. He looked at the branch manager carefully. Thomas looked worried and scared. Good, he should be. Let me tell you a story, Robert said quietly. When I was 8 years old, my family came to America from Taiwan. We had very little money. My father worked in a restaurant. My mother cleaned houses. We lived in a tiny apartment in San Francisco. 4 of us in 2 rooms. Maya and Patricia listened. Thomas listened too, not sure where this was going. When I was 25, I had saved enough money to start a small business. I needed a business bank account. I went to a bank dressed in my best clothes. I had my business plan. I had my savings. I had everything prepared. Robert paused. His eyes looked far away, remembering. The banker looked at me and said I did not look like a real business owner. He said my plan seemed fake. He suggested I was trying to scam the bank. He made me feel small, worthless, like I did not belong there. I am sorry that happened to you, Thomas said. Robert held up his hand. I am not finished. That banker's name was Mr. Harrison. I remember it clearly, even though it was almost 40 years ago. Do you know what I did? Thomas shook his head. I left that bank. I found another bank. A small one. A banker there believed in me. She helped me open my account. Her name was Mrs. Rodriguez. I will never forget her kindness. Robert leaned forward. My business grew. I worked hard, very hard. 18-hour days, 7 days a week. I made smart decisions. I took risks. My small business became a bigger business. Then an even bigger one, he gestured around the office. Eventually, I had enough success that I could invest in other businesses, including banks. Including this one, Thomas nodded slowly. He knew Robert's story. Everyone in the company knew it. Robert Chen was a legend. He built his fortune from nothing. Do you know why I decided to help this young lady today? Robert asked. Why? Thomas said, because I saw Mr. Harrison and Derek Hutchins. I saw the same judgment, the same assumptions, the same cruelty disguised as caution. And I promised myself many years ago that if I ever saw someone else being treated the way I was treated, I would not stay silent. Robert turned to look at Maya. This young woman achieved something extraordinary. She won a national scholarship. Do you know how difficult that is? 50 students. Out of thousands who apply, she should have walked into this bank proud and excited. She should have been congratulated. Instead, she was humiliated. You are absolutely right, Thomas said. And I promise you there will be consequences. There better be, Robert said. His voice was firm. But first we need to take care of Maya's business. She needs to deposit her scholarship check. Right now. Thomas stood up immediately. Of course. I will handle it personally. He looked at Maya. May I see your check and documents? Maya looked at her mother. Patricia nodded. Maya reached into the folder and took out the check and papers. She handed them to Thomas with shaking hands. Thomas examined everything carefully. He looked at the check. He read the scholarship letter. He studied the certificate from the ceremony. After a few minutes, he nodded. Everything here is completely legitimate. This is a standard format for Whitmore Foundation scholarship checks. We have processed others like it before. He looked up at Maya. This should have been simple. I am so sorry it was not. Thomas walked to his computer and started typing. What is your account number? Maya told him. Her voice was quiet but steady now. Thomas pulled up her account on his computer. All right, I am processing this deposit right now. The funds will be available in your account within 3 business days. That is standard for large checks. But I am also putting a note on your account that this deposit is verified and approved by me personally. There will be no holds. No problems, he typed more information. Then he printed out a receipt. He handed it to Maya. Here is your receipt. Your deposit of $250,000 is now processing. The confirmation number is at the bottom. If you have any questions or problems, you call me directly. Thomas pulled out a business card and wrote his personal cell phone number on the back. Anytime, day or night. Maya took the receipt and the card. She looked at them. Her scholarship money was finally in her account. It was done. Thank you, she whispered. Patricia looked at Thomas. What happens now? To Derek Hutchins and Jennifer Walsh? Thomas's expression became serious. That will be addressed immediately. But I think Mr. Chen should speak to that. Robert nodded. I want to see them both. Right now. In here. Of course, Thomas said. He went to the door and opened it. He called out, Derek, Jennifer, please come to my office immediately. Through the open door, Maya could see the bank floor. Derek and Jennifer were still near the teller windows. They looked at each other with fear on their faces. But they had no choice. They walked slowly toward the office. When they entered, Thomas closed the door behind them. Derek and Jennifer stood awkwardly near the door. They did not want to look at Robert. They did not want to look at Maya and Patricia. Sit down, Robert said. It was not a request. It was a command. Derek and Jennifer sat in the 2 remaining chairs. The office felt crowded now with 6 people in it. Robert looked at them both for a long moment. The silence was heavy. Finally, he spoke. I want you both to explain to me exactly what happened this morning. Derek, you start. Derek shifted in his chair. He cleared his throat. Well, these 2 came in with a large check. A very large check. The amount raised red flags for me. So I asked questions. What kind of questions? Robert asked. Standard verification questions. Where the check came from, how they got it, and what did they tell you? They said it was a scholarship. But it seemed suspicious to me. Young girl with a check for that much money. I have worked here 15 years. I know what fraud looks like. Robert's expression did not change. You know what fraud looks like, I see. Tell me, Derek. What did the fraud look like in this case? Be specific, Derek hesitated. It just did not seem right. The amount. Her age, Robert repeated. What else? Derek did not answer. What else made you suspicious, Derek? What else about this girl made you think she was committing fraud? Derek stayed silent. He knew what Robert was getting at. They all knew. Robert turned to Jennifer. And you are the supervisor. You reviewed the situation. They had the check. They had the scholarship letter. They had the certificate from the ceremony. Why did you support Derek's decision? Jennifer's voice was shaky. Derek has a lot of experience. If he thought something was wrong, I trusted his judgment. You trusted his judgment, Robert said, without doing your own verification, without actually reviewing the documents properly. You just assumed he was right. Jennifer nodded miserably. Robert stood up. He walked to the window in Thomas's office. He looked out at the parking lot for a moment. Then he turned back around. I am going to tell you both something important, something I need you to understand. Your actions this morning were not just bad customer service. They were discriminatory, whether you realize it or not. You made assumptions about this young woman based on how she looked, based on her age, based on her race. I am not racist, Derek said quickly. I would never— Stop, Robert interrupted. I watched you. I saw how you treated Maya and her mother, and then I watched you process a check for $75,000 from an elderly white man. No questions, no verification, just smiles and efficiency. The difference in treatment was obvious to everyone watching. Derek opened his mouth to argue, then closed it. He had no defense. Robert continued. Do you know what bias is? Bias is not always conscious. Sometimes people have ideas in their heads that they do not even realize are there. Ideas about who deserves trust and who does not. About who looks successful and who does not. About who belongs and who does not. He walked back to his chair and sat down. I built this company on the principle that everyone deserves respect. Everyone deserves a chance. Those are not just words. They are the foundation of everything we do. Thomas nodded in agreement. Those values are in our mission statement, in our training, in our policies, exactly, Robert said. And yet today in this branch, those values were completely ignored. He looked directly at Derek. You did not just refuse a deposit. You humiliated a young person who had achieved something remarkable. You made her cry. You made her feel like she did not deserve her own success. Maya wiped her eyes again. Hearing Robert say these things out loud made the emotions come back. Patricia squeezed her daughter's hand. Robert's voice was firm. Derek, you are suspended immediately. Effective right now. Pending a full investigation into this incident and your history of transactions. I want to see if there are patterns. If this has happened before. Derek's face went pale. Suspended? But he turned to Jennifer. And you are receiving a formal written warning. It will go in your permanent file. You will also complete mandatory anti-bias training. Not the basic online course. Real training. With a professional. You will learn to recognize bias. To question your assumptions. To do your job properly. Jennifer nodded quickly. Yes, sir. I understand. I am so sorry. Do not apologize to me, Robert said. Apologize to them. He pointed at Maya and Patricia. Jennifer turned to face them. Tears were in her eyes now, too. I am so sorry. Truly. What happened today was— Thomas left his office to handle Derek's departure. Robert, Maya, and Patricia sat in the quiet space. The morning had been exhausting. Maya felt drained, like all her energy had been used up. Robert looked at Maya with gentle eyes. How are you feeling? Maya thought about the question. How was she feeling? Relieved that her check was deposited. Grateful that Robert had helped. But still hurt. Still humiliated. I do not know, she said honestly. A lot of things. That makes sense, Robert said. What happened to you today was not small. It was significant. And your feelings about it are valid, whatever they are. Patricia nodded. We appreciate everything you did, Mr. Chen, we really do. But I have to ask, why did you help us? You did not know us? You could have just stayed quiet and minded your own business. Robert smiled sadly. I told you about my experience when I was younger. About the banker who rejected me. That was a defining moment in my life. Not because it stopped me, but because it taught me something important. What did it teach you? Maya asked. It taught me that silence is a choice. When we see injustice and say nothing, we are choosing to let it continue. When we see someone being hurt and we walk away, we are choosing to be part of the problem. He shifted in his chair, getting comfortable. After I became successful, I promised myself I would never be silent. If I saw someone being treated unfairly, I would speak up. Even if it was uncomfortable. Even if it was not my direct problem. But you are the chairman of the board, Patricia said. You have power. It is easier for you to speak up. That is true now, Robert agreed. But I did not always have power. And I spoke up anyway. When I was younger, when I had less, I still spoke up when I saw injustice. It was harder then. Sometimes it cost me, but it was still the right thing to do. Maya listened carefully. She thought about the other people in the bank. All those customers who watched Derek humiliate her. None of them said anything. They just watched. Some of them recorded it on their phones. Why do you think no one else helped us? Maya asked. All those people were watching. They could see what was happening. Robert considered the question. There are many reasons. Some people are afraid. They do not want trouble. Some people are uncomfortable but do not know what to do. And some people honestly do not care. They see someone else's problem and they think it does not affect them. But it does affect them, Patricia said. This kind of thing affects everyone. If it can happen to my daughter, it can happen to anyone. You are absolutely right, Robert said. But not everyone sees that. Not everyone has experienced discrimination themselves, so they do not understand how it feels, how it damages a person. Maya looked down at her hands. I felt so small. When he was questioning me, making those comments, I felt like nothing I said mattered, like he had already decided I was lying. That is exactly how bias works, Robert explained. Derek looked at you and made instant judgments. He did not see your achievements. He did not see your intelligence. He did not see your hard work. He just saw what he expected to see based on his own internal biases. Is that what happened to you? Maya asked. When you were younger and the banker rejected you? Robert nodded. Yes, Mr. Harrison looked at me and saw an immigrant. Someone who did not belong in his bank. Someone who could not possibly have a legitimate business plan. He did not see my potential. He did not see my determination. He just saw his own prejudices reflected back at him. Did it make you angry? Maya asked. Very angry, Robert said. For a long time. But eventually I realized something. Anger is useful if it motivates you. But if it just sits inside you burning, then it only hurts you. So I channeled my anger into determination. I decided I would prove people like Mr. Harrison wrong. Not just for me, but for everyone who looked like me. Everyone who came from where I came from. Patricia smiled slightly. Sounds like you succeeded. I did well in business, yes. But success is not just about money or power. Real success is about creating change, making things better, making sure the next generation does not have to face the same obstacles. He looked at Maya directly. Tell me about this scholarship. The Whitmore National Merit Scholarship. What does it mean to you? Maya's face lit up a little. Even after the terrible morning, talking about her scholarship made her feel proud. It means everything. It means I can go to Stanford University. I can study biomedical engineering without worrying about money. I can focus on learning instead of working 3 jobs to pay tuition. Biomedical engineering, Robert repeated. That is impressive. Why that field? Maya's voice grew stronger as she talked. I want to design medical equipment that helps people. But not just any people. I want to help people in poor communities. People who cannot afford expensive treatments. People like my neighbors. She told Robert about Mrs. Chen who could not afford her diabetes medicine. About Marcus's friend Jamal who struggled to pay for his asthma inhaler. About all the people in her neighborhood who had health problems but could not get good care because of money. I want to create devices that are affordable, that work well but do not cost thousands of dollars. I want to make healthcare more accessible. Robert listened intently. His expression showed deep respect. That is a beautiful goal, and very needed. The world needs more engineers who think like you, who remember where they came from and want to help others. Do you think I can do it? Maya asked. The question came out before she could stop it. After this morning's experience, her confidence was shaken. Robert leaned forward. Maya, let me tell you something important. What happened today has nothing to do with your worth or your abilities. Derek's actions were about his own limitations, his own biases, his own failures, not yours. He pointed to the receipt on her lap. That check represents something real. You earned that scholarship. You competed against thousands of students. You won, that is real. That is true. Do not let one small-minded person take that truth away from you. Maya felt tears forming again, but these were different tears, not tears of humiliation, Tears of relief, of validation. "Thank you," she whispered. "You do not need to thank me, but I want to ask you something." Robert pulled out a business card from his wallet. This one was different from the one he showed Derek and Jennifer. This card had his direct contact information. "I own several companies. One of them is a biomedical technology company called MedTech Innovations. We design exactly the kind of equipment you are talking about. Affordable medical devices for underserved communities." Maya's eyes widened. "Really? Really? And I would like to offer you something. A summer internship. After your first year at Stanford, come work with us. Learn about the field from the inside. Meet engineers who are doing the work you want to do. Get real experience." Maya looked at her mother in shock. Patricia looked shocked too. Are you serious?" Maya asked, completely serious. "You have the passion. You have the intelligence. You have the right motivations. Those are the qualities we look for in interns. Plus you have something else. You have lived experience. You understand the problems because you have seen them firsthand. That perspective is invaluable." Patricia spoke up. "Mr. Chen, this is incredibly generous. But we do not want charity. My daughter, this is not charity," Robert interrupted gently. "This is opportunity. And it is beneficial for my company too. We need bright young minds. We need people who understand the communities we are trying to serve. Maya would be an asset to us." He handed the business card to Maya. "Think about it. Talk it over with your mother. When you get to Stanford and settle in, send me an email. We will set up the details." Maya took the card with trembling hands. "I do not know what to say." "Say yes," Robert smiled. "Say you will work hard and learn as much as you can. Say you will remember this feeling and use it to motivate you. And say that someday when you see someone else being treated unfairly, you will speak up too." Maya nodded firmly. "I promise." "I will do all of those things." Robert stood up. "Good. Now I need to stay here and work with Thomas on implementing better policies and training. But you two should go home, rest, process everything that happened. Take care of yourselves." Patricia stood and shook Robert's hand. "Thank you, Mr. Chen, for everything. For standing up for Maya, for believing in her, for giving her an opportunity." "Thank you for raising such an exceptional daughter," Robert replied. "The world needs more young people like Maya." Maya stood up too. She looked at Robert and felt something shift inside her. This morning she felt broken, humiliated. Like maybe she did not deserve her scholarship after all. But now standing here, she felt different. She felt strong. She felt validated. She felt ready to face whatever came next. Robert's eyes were warm. "Keep that hope, Maya. Nurture it. And when things get hard at Stanford or in your career, remember today. Remember that your worth is not determined by people like Derek. Your worth is determined by your character, your work, and your dreams." Maya nodded. She clutched the business card tightly. "I will remember." Robert walked them to the door of the office. Outside, the bank had returned to normal operations. Derek was gone. Jennifer was at her window helping customers, looking subdued. Other tellers worked efficiently. Some customers glanced at Maya and Pa. 3 days later, Robert Chen sat in a conference room at the Riverside Financial Group headquarters. Around the table sat Thomas Peterson, the branch manager, along with Human Resources Director Sandra Mills and Legal Counsel David Park. They were reviewing the investigation into Derek Hutchins. Sandra opened a thick folder on the table. "We have completed our preliminary investigation. The findings are troubling." Robert leaned forward. "Tell me everything." Sandra pulled out several documents. "We reviewed Derek's transaction history for the past 3 years. We also interviewed other employees and looked at customer complaints." "And?" Robert asked. "There is a pattern. Derek has questioned or delayed transactions for minority customers at a significantly higher rate than for white customers. Over the past 3 years, he flagged 17 large deposits from minority customers as suspicious. Of those 17, only 1 turned out to be actual fraud." David Park added, "In the same time period, Derek processed 43 large deposits from white customers. He flagged only 2 as suspicious. Both were actual fraud." Robert did the math in his head. So he was wrong about minority customers 16 times out of 17, but only wrong about white customers 0 times out of 43. "Exactly," Sandra said. "The statistical pattern is clear. Derek was applying different standards based on race." Thomas looked sick. "I had no idea." I mean, I knew Derek could be difficult sometimes, but I did not realize there was a pattern. That is part of the problem, Robert said. These patterns hide in plain sight. Each individual incident might seem explainable, but when you look at the data over time, the bias becomes obvious. Sandra pulled out more papers. We also found 3 formal complaints filed against Derek in the past 2 years. All from minority customers, all describing similar experiences to what happened with Maya Johnson. 3 complaints, Thomas repeated. I only remember seeing one. Sandra nodded. The other 2 were resolved at the branch level. Derek was talked to by his supervisor at the time. He received verbal warnings, but nothing went into his permanent file. No formal documentation. Robert's jaw tightened, so he was allowed to continue this behavior with no real consequences. It appears so, Sandra confirmed. The previous supervisor, Martin Green, retired last year. Jennifer Walsh took over the position. She was not aware of the pattern because there was no formal documentation. David spoke up. From a legal standpoint, this puts the company at serious risk. If any of those customers who complained decided to file discrimination lawsuits, they would have strong cases. The pattern of behavior, combined with the lack of disciplinary action, shows systemic failure. What is your recommendation? Robert asked. Sandra did not hesitate. Termination. Derek's employment should be terminated immediately. The evidence is overwhelming. He violated company policy, federal anti-discrimination laws, and basic human decency. There is no path forward with him as an employee. Thomas nodded slowly. I agree. As difficult as it is, I think that is the right decision. Robert looked at each person at the table. I want to be clear about something. This is not just about punishing Derek. This is about protecting our customers. This is about living up to our values. If we keep Derek employed after discovering this pattern, we are saying we do not really mean what we claim to believe. I understand, Thomas said. I will handle the termination personally. Good, Robert said. Now let us talk about Jennifer Walsh. Sandra opened another section of her folder. Jennifer's situation is more complex. She has been with the company for 8 years. Her record before becoming supervisor was excellent. No complaints. Good customer feedback. The problem is her handling of the Maya Johnson situation. She failed, Robert said simply. She had the power to stop Derek. She saw the documentation. She should have known the transaction was legitimate, but she deferred to Derek without doing proper review. True, Sandra agreed. However, this appears to be more about inexperience as a supervisor than about personal bias. She made a bad judgment call. She trusted the wrong person. But there is no pattern of discriminatory behavior in her own record. David added, Jennifer has also been extremely cooperative in the investigation. She admitted her mistakes. She has expressed genuine remorse, and she has already begun the anti-bias training you mandated. Robert thought about it. How is the training going? Sandra smiled slightly. Actually, quite well. Jennifer's trainer says she is engaged and thoughtful. She is asking hard questions and examining her own biases. The trainer believes she is sincere about changing. All right, Robert said. Jennifer can stay, but she remains on formal warning for 6 months. If there are any issues during that time, any complaints, any signs of bias, she is gone. No second chances. Understood, Thomas said. Robert stood up and walked to the window. The headquarters building had a view of the Detroit River. He watched boats moving on the water for a moment before turning back. Here is what I want to happen next. First, every employee at every branch completes mandatory anti-bias training, not some online module they click through. Real training, with real trainers, where they have to think and discuss and examine themselves. Sandra started taking notes. Second, we implement a new review system. Anytime a large deposit from a minority customer is questioned or flagged, it gets automatic review by a manager. That manager has to document the reason for suspicion and show that the same standards would apply to any customer. That is good, David said. It creates accountability. Third, we make it easier for customers to report discrimination. We put signs in every branch with a phone number and email address. We tell customers explicitly that we take these complaints seriously, and we will investigate them. Thomas nodded. I like that. It sends a clear message. Fourth, we review our hiring and promotion practices. I want to know if we have diversity in our workforce, especially in management positions. Diverse teams make better decisions. They catch biases that homogeneous teams miss, Sandra wrote faster. This is all excellent. I can have implementation plans ready within 2 weeks. Make it 1 week, Robert said. This is priority 1. Nothing is more important than getting this right. He sat back down at the table. There is one more thing. I want us to do something proactive. Something that shows we are serious about change. What do you have in mind? Thomas asked. I want to create a scholarship program. The Stand-Up Scholarship. We will give it to students who have faced discrimination but persevered. Students who have overcome obstacles. Students like Maya Johnson. Sandra's eyes lit up. That is wonderful. We will fund 5 scholarships per year. $25,000 each. We will promote it heavily. We will partner with schools in underserved communities. We will make it clear that we value resilience and character, not just grades. Robert looked around the table. And here is the important part. Every scholarship recipient will be invited to share their story. We will feature them on our website, in our branches. We will let them tell the world about the discrimination they faced. No hiding it, no being embarrassed. We own our mistakes and we celebrate the people who overcome them. Thomas smiled. That is powerful. Really powerful. It should be, Robert said, because discrimination is not just a problem out there in the world. It is a problem in here, in our institutions, in our banks, and we have to face it head on. The meeting continued for another hour. They worked through details and timelines. They assigned responsibilities. By the end, everyone had clear action items. As people gathered their papers to leave, Sandra spoke up. Mr. Chen, can I say something? Of course, and what you did at that branch. Standing up for Maya Johnson. It could have been easier to stay quiet, to avoid the confrontation. But you did not. And that set the tone for everything we are doing now. Thank you. Robert shook his head. Do not thank me. I did what anyone should do. The real question is why more people do not do it. Why it feels special instead of normal. David stood up. Maybe because it requires courage. It is easier to look away. Maybe, Robert agreed. But we have to stop accepting that as normal. We have to expect more from each other. We have to expect more from ourselves. Everyone filed out of the conference room except Robert and Thomas. They stood by the window together looking out at the city. Can I ask you something? Thomas said. Go ahead. When you saw what was happening to Maya, what made you decide to speak up? Was it just because of your own experience when you were younger? Robert thought about the question. Partly, but also something else. I looked at that girl's face. I saw her hope turning to humiliation. I saw her mother's dignity as she tried to protect her daughter. And I thought, if I stay silent right now, I become part of the problem. I become Derek. I become the person who sees injustice and looks away. He turned to face Thomas. Every day we make choices. Small choices. Do we speak up or stay quiet? Do we stand with the vulnerable or with the powerful? Do we take the easy path or the right path? Those choices define who we are. I want to do better. I want to make this branch a place where everyone feels safe and respected. Good, Robert said. Then that is what you will do. And I will support you. But Thomas, understand. Summer arrived hot and humid in Detroit. Maya sat on the front steps of her apartment building, reading a textbook about engineering principles. She wanted to be prepared when she started at Stanford in the fall. 3 months had passed since the incident at the bank. 3 months since Robert Chen stood up for her. 3 months since everything changed. A car pulled up to the curb. It was Patricia, coming home from her morning shift at the hospital. She looked tired but happy when she saw Maya. Still studying? Patricia asked as she climbed the stairs. Baby, it is summer. You should relax a little, Maya smiled. I am relaxed. This is fun for me. Patricia laughed and shook her head. You are something special, you know that? They went inside the apartment. Marcus was in the living room playing a video game. He was growing fast, almost as tall as Maya now. Hey, Mom. Hey, Maya, he said without looking away from the screen. Hi, baby, Patricia said. Did you eat lunch? Yeah, I made a sandwich. Patricia nodded and went to change out of her work clothes. Maya sat down next to Marcus on the couch. What are you playing? Space Explorers. It is pretty cool. You want to try? Maybe later. I need to finish this chapter. Marcus paused his game and looked at his sister. Are you nervous? About Stanford? Maya thought about it. A little. It is far away, and I do not know anyone there, but mostly I am excited. "I am going to miss you," Marcus said quietly. Maya felt her heart squeeze. "I am going to miss you too, but I will call all the time. And I will come home for holidays. It is not like I am disappearing, I know, but it will be weird without you here. You will be fine. You have Mom, you have your friends. Plus, think about it. You get your own room now," Marcus grinned. "That is true. I am definitely taking the bigger room." "Hey, that is my room." "Not anymore. You are leaving." "I claim it," they both laughed. It felt good to joke about normal things. For a while after the bank incident, everything felt heavy, but slowly life was returning to normal. Patricia came back into the living room wearing comfortable clothes. "Maya, you got something in the mail today. It is on the kitchen table." Maya stood up and went to the kitchen. There was a large envelope with the Stanford University logo in the corner. Her heart beat faster. She carefully opened it. Inside was her official acceptance packet, her class schedule, her dorm assignment, a map of campus, a welcome letter from the Dean of Engineering. Maya read the welcome letter twice. It talked about innovation and diversity and making the world better. It talked about how Stanford students were leaders and problem solvers. It talked about the opportunities she would have. This was real. This was really happening. Patricia came into the kitchen. "What is it?" "My Stanford packet. Everything is official now. I start September 15th. Patricia hugged her daughter tight. "I am so proud of you. So incredibly proud." They stood there for a moment holding each other. Then Patricia pulled back and wiped her eyes. "Do not start crying or you will make me cry," Maya said. "Too late." Patricia laughed through her tears. "I am already crying." Maya's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen. It was an email from Robert Chen. Her heart jumped. She had emailed him 2 weeks ago about the internship he mentioned. She had not heard back yet and was starting to worry. She opened the email and read it quickly. "Dear Maya, I apologize for the delayed response. I have been traveling for business. Thank you for reaching out about the summer internship at MedTech Innovations. I am pleased to confirm that we would love to have you join our team next summer after your first year at Stanford. I have copied Dr. Sarah Park, our head of research and development, on this email. She will be your supervisor during the internship. Dr. Park has reviewed your background and is very impressed. She has asked me to tell you that she looks forward to working with someone who has both the technical skills and the passion for accessible healthcare. The internship runs for 10 weeks, from June through August. We provide housing, transportation, and a competitive salary. We will send you more details in the spring. For now, focus on your studies at Stanford. Work hard, learn as much as you can. Build a strong foundation. We will be here waiting when summer comes. I also wanted to let you know that the changes we discussed at the bank have been implemented. All employees have completed anti-bias training. We have new policies in place. And we launched the Stand-Up Scholarship Program. The first 5 recipients will be announced next month. I hope you are doing well and preparing for an exciting year ahead. Best regards, Robert Chen. Maya read the email 3 times. Then she showed it to her mother. Patricia read it carefully. When she finished, she was smiling. "This is wonderful, Maya. This man has been such a blessing." "I know. I still cannot believe he helped us. A complete stranger. Not a stranger anymore. He is a mentor. A supporter. Someone who believes in you." Maya thought about that. It was true. Robert had become more than just the man who helped at the bank. He had become someone she could count on. Someone who saw her potential. She typed a response. "Dear Mr. Chen, thank you so much for this opportunity. I cannot wait to work with Dr. Park and learn from your team. I promise I will work hard at Stanford and come to the internship ready to contribute. Thank you also for the update about the bank. It means a lot to know that what happened is leading to real change. Maybe it will prevent someone else from going through what I did. I will never forget what you did for me that day. You changed my life." With gratitude, Maya Johnson, she hit send and put her phone down. The next few weeks passed quickly. Maya finished all her summer reading for Stanford. She bought supplies for college. She packed her clothes and belongings. She said goodbye to friends who were going to different schools or staying in Detroit. Mrs. Robinson, her guidance counselor, threw a small party for Maya at the school. It was in the library where Maya used to work. Teachers came. Friends came. Even the principal gave a short speech about how proud the school was of Maya's achievement. "You are an example to everyone here," the principal said. "You show what is possible with hard work and determination. We will be following your success at Stanford and beyond. Maya gave a short speech too. She thanked her teachers. She thanked Mrs. Robinson for believing in her. She thanked her friends for supporting her. And she thanked her mother for everything. My mom is the reason I am standing here today, Maya said. She worked double shifts so I could have what I needed. She stayed up late helping me with projects. She never let me quit even when things were hard. Everything I achieve is because of her, Patricia cried. Again. Happy tears that seemed to come so easily these days. 1 week before she was supposed to leave for Stanford, Maya went back to Riverside Community Bank. She had not been back since that terrible day. Part of her did not want to go, but she needed to close out her old account and transfer things to her new account at a bank near Stanford. She walked in nervously. The bank looked the same. Same tile floor, same teller windows, same soft music playing. But things were different too. There were new signs on the walls. Bright posters that said, "Respect for all customers" and "We value diversity." There was a poster about the stand-up scholarship with a phone number to apply. Maya walked to the customer service desk. A young woman greeted her with a warm smile. "How can I help you today?" "I need to transfer my account," Maya explained. "Of course. Let me get someone to help you with that." The woman called over a manager. Not Thomas Peterson. A different manager. A woman named Angela Rodriguez. Angela smiled when she saw Maya. "Ms. Johnson, it is so good to see you. I have heard wonderful things about you." Maya was surprised. "You know who I am? Everyone here knows who you are. You are famous around here." "In a good way," Angela added quickly. "Your story has been an important lesson for all of us. A reminder to do better." She led Maya to a private office. As they walked, Maya noticed other changes. The staff was more diverse than before. There were more women. More people of color. It looked different. Angela helped Maya with her account transfer. She was efficient and kind. Professional but warm. It was such a different experience from the one with Derek. "I want you to know something," Angela said as they finished up. "What happened to you should never have happened. We have made a lot of changes since then. But changes are not enough if they do not come with real accountability and real culture shift. We are working on that every day." "Thank you," Maya said. "That means a lot. Where are you headed?" "College?" "Stanford University. I start in a few days." Angela's face lit up. "Stanford?" "That is incredible. What are you studying?" "Biomedical engineering." "Wow, the world needs more people like you in that field. People who care about making healthcare accessible." Maya was surprised again. "How did you know that is what I care about?" Angela smiled. "Mr. Chen talks about you sometimes. He is very proud of you. He tells everyone about the brilliant young woman who is going to change the world." Maya felt warmth spread through her chest. Robert talked about her. He was proud of her. Even months later, he still believed in her. The bank had changed. But more importantly, she had changed. She was not the scared girl who let Derek's words make her doubt herself. She was someone who knew her worth. Someone who understood that other people's biases said nothing about her value. She got into her mother's car. Patricia had been. 1 year later, Maya stood at the front of the Riverside Community Bank main branch. She wore a professional dress and held note cards in her hands. Her heart was beating fast, but it was not fear. It was excitement. The bank had invited her to speak at an event. They called it the Stand-Up Community Celebration. It was the first anniversary of the Stand-Up Scholarship Program. The first 5 scholarship recipients were being honored today, and Maya was the guest speaker. The bank lobby had been transformed. Chairs were set up in rows. A small stage with a podium stood at the front. Banners hung on the walls showing photos and stories of young people who had overcome discrimination. The first 5 stand-up scholarship winners sat in the front row looking nervous and proud. Robert Chen sat in the second row next to Patricia and Marcus. Thomas Peterson sat nearby with his wife. Angela Rodriguez was there. Even Jennifer Walsh attended, sitting quietly in the back. Sandra Mills from Human Resources walked to the podium. She smiled at the crowd of about 70 people. Community members, bank employees, teachers, students, and reporters. "Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this special celebration. 1 year ago, something happened in this very bank that changed us. It forced us to look at ourselves honestly, to acknowledge our failures, and to commit to doing better. Sandra paused, looking around the room. We did not hide what happened. We did not make excuses. Instead, we chose to learn, to grow, to change, and most importantly, to take action. She gestured to the banners. These young people you see here are the first recipients of our stand-up scholarship. Each of them has faced discrimination or hardship. Each of them has shown remarkable resilience and determination. Each of them represents the future we are working to build, a future where everyone has a fair chance to succeed. The audience applauded. The 5 scholarship winners smiled nervously. Tonight we have a very special guest speaker. Many of you know her story. She was a catalyst for change, though she never asked to be. She faced injustice with dignity, and she turned pain into purpose. Please welcome Maya Johnson. The applause grew louder as Maya walked to the podium. She saw her mother's face in the crowd, beaming with pride. She saw Robert giving her an encouraging nod. She saw the 5 scholarship recipients looking at her with admiration. Maya took a deep breath and began. Thank you for that kind introduction. Thank you all for being here. Standing in this bank again is strange for me. The last time I was here as a customer was one of the worst days of my life. Today is one of the best. She looked down at her notes, then decided to speak from her heart instead. A year ago, I walked into this bank with my mother. I had just won the Whitmore National Merit Scholarship. I was so excited, so proud. My whole life had been leading to that moment. I had worked so hard, studied so long, sacrificed so much, and finally it had paid off. Maya's voice was steady, strong. But when I tried to deposit my scholarship check, I was treated like a criminal. I was questioned, doubted, humiliated. The teller looked at me and decided I could not possibly have earned such a scholarship legitimately. Not because of anything I did, but because of how I looked, because of my age, because of my race. The room was silent. Everyone listened intently. I left this bank that day feeling broken. I questioned myself. Maybe I did not deserve the scholarship. Maybe I was not as smart as I thought. Maybe all my achievements did not matter because some people would only ever see what they expected to see. Patricia wiped tears from her eyes. Marcus held her hand. But then something happened. Someone spoke up. Robert Chen, who was a stranger to me at the time, decided that what he witnessed was wrong. He could have stayed silent. He could have minded his own business. But he did not. He used his voice. He used his power. He stood up for me when I could not stand up for myself. Maya looked directly at Robert. Mr. Chen, you changed my life that day. Not just because you helped with the check, but because you showed me what courage looks like, what integrity looks like, what it means to do the right thing even when it is uncomfortable. Robert smiled, his eyes glistening. Maya turned back to the audience. That experience taught me something important. Discrimination is real. It happens every day. In banks, in schools, in workplaces, everywhere. But equally real is the power of people who refuse to accept it. People who speak up. People who demand better. She gestured to the 5 scholarship recipients. These young people here have all faced their own challenges. I have read their stories. I have met each of them. They are brilliant, determined, and resilient. They deserve every opportunity in the world. Maya pulled out a piece of paper from her pocket. One of the scholarship winners, Jamal Martinez, wrote something in his application essay that really moved me. He said, I used to think discrimination meant I was less. Now I understand it means the discriminator is less brave, less open, less human. I refuse to let their limitations become mine. People in the audience nodded. Some wiped tears. That is the mindset we need, Maya said. We cannot control other people's biases, but we can control how we respond. We can refuse to internalize their hate. We can refuse to shrink ourselves. We can keep pushing forward. Maya's voice grew stronger. I just finished my first year at Stanford University. It was hard. Really hard. The classes were challenging. I was far from home. There were times I felt out of place. Times I wondered if I belonged. She smiled. But I kept thinking about that day at the bank. About Mr. Chen speaking up. About my mother's dignity. About the changes that happened because we did not stay silent. That gave me strength when I needed it most. Maya looked at her notes one more time, then set them aside. I want to tell you about my first year. I took classes in engineering, mathematics, biology, and chemistry. My GPA was 3.9. I joined the Society of Women Engineers. I volunteered at a community health clinic in East Palo Alto, teaching science to kids. The audience applauded. Maya raised her hand gently. I am not telling you this to brag. I am telling you this because I want these 5 scholarship winners to know what is possible. I want every young person in this room to know that your dreams are valid. Your goals are achievable. Do not let anyone make you doubt that. She paused for a breath. Next month, I start my internship at MedTech Innovations. Mr. Chen kept his promise and gave me an opportunity to learn from amazing engineers. I will spend the summer designing affordable medical devices, living my dream, making a difference. Maya's voice got softer. But here's what I really want to say. None of this happened because I am special. It happened because I worked hard, yes, but also because people helped me. My mother worked double shifts. My teachers believed in me. My counselor pushed me to apply for scholarships. And Mr. Chen stood up for me when it mattered most. She looked around the room. We all need help. We all need support. We all need someone to believe in us and someone to stand up for us. That is not weakness. That is human. Maya addressed the scholarship recipients directly. So my message to you 5 is this. Accept help when it is offered. Work hard, but also build community. Remember where you came from. And most importantly, when you see someone else being treated unfairly, speak up. Be the Robert Chen in someone else's story. The audience applauded loudly. The 5 recipients stood up clapping. Soon everyone in the room was on their feet. Maya felt overwhelmed by emotion. She had come so far from that scared, humiliated girl a year ago. Thank you, she said into the microphone. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. Thank you for being part of the change. Together we can build a world where everyone is treated with dignity and respect, where no young person has to experience what I experienced, where talent and hard work are recognized regardless of what someone looks like. She stepped back from the podium. The applause continued. Sandra returned to the stage and hugged Maya. After the official program ended, there was a reception. People ate cookies and drank punch. They talked and laughed. Maya found herself surrounded by people wanting to meet her. The 5 scholarship recipients gathered around her, asking questions about Stanford and engineering and life after high school. Maya answered every question patiently. She exchanged phone numbers and promised to stay in touch. You can call me anytime, Maya told them. If you need advice or help or just someone to talk to. I mean that. One of the recipients, a girl named Aisha, hugged Maya. Thank you for sharing your story. It helps to know we are not alone. You are definitely not alone, Maya said. There are so many of us fighting the same fights, chasing the same dreams. We have to support each other. Later, Maya found Robert standing near the refreshment table. He was talking with Thomas Peterson about new diversity initiatives. Mr. Chen, Maya said, can I talk to you for a minute? Of course. And Maya, please call me Robert. We have known each other a year now. They walked to a quieter corner of the lobby. I wanted to thank you again, Maya said, for everything. The internship starts next week and I'm so excited. Robert smiled. You are going to do great. Dr. Park has been telling me how impressed she is with your preparation. You have been reading research papers and teaching yourself CAD software. Maya hesitated. Can I ask you something? Anything. Do you ever think about that banker? Mr. Harrison? T.